And there's still some left for me, huh?
And there's still some.
Holy smokes. Yeah! Hey you guys, I'm out here in Long Beach today. I'm going to show you guys a community garden tour with my buddy here, Louis from
Green Zebra Gardening.
All right, so he's going to take us around, show us your plot.
So very important, we have a porta potty.
Okay.
We have lots of fruit trees. The garden only started, it's been in the works for a very long time, going through all the red tape and everything with the city. The garden we only started working on it in, I think, March or April. And we were basically out here every weekend. We put in the walkways, we put in the trees, the mulch, the beds. And we really only started growing here in the end of May, June. So we only got half of the warm season. For tomatoes, peppers, all that stuff, all the fun, other fruits. We have the meeting space over here. We've had already many potlucks. We have the raised beds for the older population, for the elderly, and for any handicapped. Not everything is rented out now, but some of these are looking pretty good. They get their own composting bin, but we do have a full-on composting system in the back with 4 bays. This here is the giving garden. So my plot neighbor actually, she grew a ton of plants, obviously. She gave me a bunch of plants. She planted out her own plot, her home garden, and enough for this. And so all this stuff goes to, I want to say it's Cal State Long Beach for their food pantry, for their families and their students. So these are all your brassicas and all your winter veggies. On the end down there we have onions and beets. The beets were direct seeded, onions were just starts. But everything else is looking really good over here. And we do have a lot of food that's going to be coming out of there. We do have a watering schedule for that. Every day is somebody different. Plots here 10 by 10. Everybody gets their own plot. They start with basically bare soil, the furthest one here. And you do with it what you want. I've brought in some raised beds on mine, put in some trellising, and slowly but surely we're getting filled up. And this masterpiece is mine.
So now we're at Luis's plot. This is a 10 by 10 or is it a split?
This is a 10 by 10. The way we made the raised bed, it's 20 by 10, and so then right behind you there's the dividing line, and so then that's a whole nother plot.
And you're okay, but what did you mean earlier when you told me you're sharing this other plot with Kate? Hi, Kate. Have to see you
soon. she wants more bread
and dog petting, dog love from your dogs.
Love her dogs. So I think it's just the way that we built them. That is technically just 2 10 by 10 plots that are just connected. So she pays for her own plot. So that's just it's a full separate plot. It's like when you're living in an apartment. You share a wall.
I see.
And these walls are, very thin.
No walls. Invisible.
Invisible.
That you can walk through like you're a spirit.
Yes.
So are you allowed to rent too? Like maybe if there's...
No, so they only want people to do one, just to rent one at a time. If I had another friend, then maybe they can rent another one, but then, they would be the main ones on that plot. But,
okay.
And also, you want to allow for more people to come in.
Right. I'm sure that, I was just thinking maybe at the end, maybe there's still empty space that they wouldn't mind renting more out,
The director, Joe, at the time, he joked, because when we first got him, I was one of the first ones, she and I were one of the first ones, so she and I split the cost of getting bulk soil. Mm-hmm. And so within the first 2 or 3 weeks, if even that, it was already soil's all backfilled in. We already had plants going. She and I already had plants at home that we just, I'm sure Wendy here starts so many plants. Most gardeners have so many plants. We had so many left over. I was very happy to bring over tons and tons of trays, those flats. And so I ended up sharing with a lot of the plot neighbors. Awesome. And I just left them over on the table, and people were just grabbing them. I didn't think I was going to be able to put these beds in here, but the opportunity came up, and I was like, you know what, we're putting in beds.
Yeah, I really like the way how you designed out this space. Mostly people would be growing just on like a flat surface, just like however much space they're given, right? But you actually got 2 raised beds here, and then you formed this lower, sort of like a very short bed with like the border. And so you got a little bit of walking space here. It's just like a little designed out, it's actually a little garden here.
Yeah, I went through it in my head. I'm an overthinker, so I thought about it in my head as to how to best maximize it. So I thought of originally a keyhole garden type space, and one of the other gardens over on the other side has that set up that way. Honestly, the bender board or terrace board, I think that's what it's called, I honestly had it from when I was at the last garden, my last house, and so I had bought it and I was going to do the similar thing there, but I never ended up doing it. But so I had the role still just sitting at home not doing anything. I said, I want the space because I want more more defined space, because the issue I was having is the soil and the mulch were kind of mixing in together. And so, I want more of a definition to it. Yeah. And so then I have the bender board coming. It was coming all the way down here before I put in the beds. But now that I put in the beds, I moved it over. And so now I have more of a defined space for growing.
That I like that you got the backdrop there, the trellis, and you said you put down some sugar snaps right now because we're in winter.
Yes.
It grows really well in SoCal. These are cool weather crops. I'm going to climb back up that way. So I'm assuming the sun actually starts from this way?
Yes.
Cool.
So that's south. And so then...
North. Okay.
Yeah, so then it goes this way. Because originally I had the trellis going all the way out to here. But again, because of the beds, I moved them back. And so now it's just relegated to the back corner. But then it gives me more space here because before this, it was only maybe 18 inches in. So I did lose some walking space, but I gained growing space. And we can never have too much growing space. No. And so here I put these in a week ago, and we already have, this is arugula coming up.
Yeah, amazing. It's, I can help you thin out a little bit. Yeah.
It shouldn't be too spicy yet, because, they're only a week old.
So good.
Obviously, I have plenty.
Okay.
Go for it. I have plenty of lettuce, too, in case you want some of that as well.
Keep eating.
Keep eating.
Ooh, we're going to do some harvesting for me later. Make sure
I've got the hori-hori
feed my belly. Oh, the hori-hori, yeah. Tell us what this is.
This one opens the other way, actually.
Thanks, yeah. Okay, let me grab the camera real quick. Okay. Still tell us what this is.
So this is a pod binny. It's a worm bin, essentially. That's really what it is. All the clippings and all the stuff came out of the garden. So these are volunteer zinnias. We had a little extra sun this year.
Edible.
Are they really?
Yeah, zinnias are edible.
And so we chopped these off, I think, off the bottom of the cabbage because they were touching the ground. We mixed in some substrate, some spent substrate from...
I still need to get that for myself.
From Long Beach mushrooms.
Yeah.
It helps. It's my browns. And it really... This one isn't that fully dried out. When they really dry out, then I just grab a shovel or something, or even the hori-hori. Yeah. Stab it and break it up. But this is an in-ground worm bin, essentially. It was over in the back corner, but that's part of the reason I moved it over here, because I kept pushing it, and so then the front here kept going this way. It has holes on the side. I haven't put any worms into it, but we've been working on the soil for a minute now, and so... And a lot of this is compost, actually, from the one we made on site, so I know there's worms in it. So they come in, eat the stuff, break it down, create the vermicompost, and then go back out into the beds. I just gotta make sure I keep it moist. But it's supposed to be raining this week, so I think we should be fine.
Let's talk about logistics. Okay. I'm very curious. Obviously, everywhere the price is different. There's different set of rules. I've called up my place thinking it would be kind of cool to have a community garden because I have a lack of space and a son in my garden. I thought it'd be cool to maybe grow stuff that takes up more room, like the zucchinis or sweet potatoes, or so easy to grow stuff that takes a lot of space. Would be good in like a plot like this.
Cucumbers.
They did really well just more like also more common things, I guess. And just come out here once in a while and just have like a bountiful harvest, But the only thing is I was concerned being in Southern California in the warm season. Right now it's okay, but in the warm season it's tend to be more dry and the heat. So I guess you can mulch heavily because you're not actually allowed. The places I've called are not. They don't allow you to put irrigation.
This one doesn't either because the water spigots are shared. So we do have spigots. I don't know if we can see any in that shot, but there are spigots that they provide the hoses. You bring out your own either watering wand or watering gun or whatever to water your own plot. I think the one over here, they have a hose that goes all the way around, and so I'm guessing when they want to water, they just hook it up to the soaker hose. That's what it is. And so then, let it run for like 10 minutes and then just unplug it and put the hose back.
Well, soaker hose, that might be a good idea because usually people complain about it not lasting long. You have to redo the entire garden, say if you use soaker hose for like a big plot of land, but using it as like a temporary thing just to water in, and you can like go out and do some other things, right? That's actually a really good idea. So how often do you need to come out here to water in the winter versus summer?
Well, this was our first summer, and it wasn't even really a full summer because, like I said, we didn't start until like May or June planting. I was out here. Thankfully, it's on the way home from work for me during the summer, and with those long days, if I get here at 6:30, 7 o'clock, it's still sunny out. I was coming out every 2, maybe 3 days, but that first year, because the ground was so hard, the water wasn't necessarily being soaked up by the ground below it, so it was kind of sitting. So I think that might have been too much water. For the winter, I've come out here because the shorter days. I was out here yesterday, but I hadn't been out here in like 4 or 5 days. But I watered when I seeded these beds. Actually, I watered everything heavily, and then Kate, I said, "Hey, I'm not gonna be able to make it out all week," and I think she watered for me the following day, and so that helped. And then we're supposed to be getting rain this week, and so it shouldn't be too bad. It's just me a lot less, and the mulch helps.
The mulching definitely helps. That's like the one, I think that's like the key thing if I were to start a garden like this where I cannot tend to it daily. And it's good to make friends with everyone, right? So that maybe can help you water.
Yeah, totally. We have group chats going. One for the giving garden where we water. If somebody can't make it, somebody else can pop in. Or, hey, the gentleman over here with the other raised bed over there, he messages us all the time going, hey, so-and-so needs help. Or, we just got to figure out which plot it is.
Yeah, or otherwise, I guess as a backup, you can also set up, like they said, no irrigation, but you can do like the grow oyas, or...
I thought about doing that
and
putting them in here. I just don't have enough.
Yeah, the oyas, obviously, you would need quite a lot of them to fill this space, but that is an option, but we're going to show you in just a little bit some really cool things. They did also, I think, was it the artichoke that had the oya?
Had an oya, and then one
That's
of the
so
other
cool.
plot holders. There's another plot owner. She saw how quickly I was getting everything done. She wanted some help, and she asked for recommendations. And I told her, I said, you can start with grow bags. So she ended up buying, I think those are 30 or 40 gallon grow bags.
Yeah.
And she says, like you, she don't want to spend the time to come all the way out here and water. And so I said, well, you could get some medium groyas and put them in there. That's how I do at home for some bigger bags. This woman went out and bought, I think, like 10 or 12 of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know. I made a huge purchase of them too. I can't wait to get my bed set up so that I can put the oils in, and the oils are going to act more as like a backup, like if I go away and stuff like that, or something happens, right? There's still somewhat like there's water. They also last, like depending on the size you get, they last for like, it depends where it's at and the size of it. It could be like putting it in water like once a week, or a few days to a week or a week and a half.
In the summer, it's more of an insurance. Even with the drip irrigation at home, I like to fill them up on those days that I know it's gonna be hot, because I only water maybe 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, and so that may dry up. Especially during the summer there at home, I get a lot of sun, and so stuff dries out.
How much mulch do you actually have here?
What is that? Maybe 6 inches tall?
Yeah, 6 inches tall.
So all of that is just really potting soil, compost. The native soil that was in there, I worked it. So it's basically just a short raised bed, essentially, is what it is in that middle section where she is.
Okay, so now let me take you on a little tour of this garden, see what Louis is growing. Okay, am I in?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, so what he's got growing directly in the ground, our beautiful favas. This is, I was told, the dwarf variety, is it?
Yes.
Okay. And he's already got some flowers in here. The problem with fava beans for me, well, they grow in the cooler season for us. And at my house, the patio is so narrow, I don't get a lot of sun. So even when they flower, a lot of times the flowers would drop until it gets warm enough where the sun also, the angle is high enough that it's giving it enough energy to actually set fruits. Otherwise, yeah, they don't set. Yep. But I like that. Do you know that they smell really good?
I've heard that.
They have like a certain time. Is it like early in the day or closer to the evening? They have a more fragrance. But right now,
they smell really good though.
They remind me of like freesia, the smell, I think, in my memory. And then all types of like romaines and lettuces here, and kale, and what is this? Like it looks like a Chinese.
Yes.
Like
Kate
green
actually gave me
stem.
that. Every time I ask her, she tells me. And
Tian
all I
guat
remember is
choy
it's
or
good
yao
for
choy.
smoothies.
Oh, well, I've never tried that. For the Asian greens, they do so much like stir fries or like quick drop in like a hot soup. Smoothies sounds good. I want to try that.
All I remember is it was from Baker Creek.
Oh yeah. There's definitely like one of the Chinese veggies. These are the red cabbages.
So these two are the red cabbages. Those four in the corner are the red Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts. Oh, red Brussels sprouts. That's gonna be fun.
Yes.
Okay, and right over on this side, this is the back side. Consider the back side, right? And you got sugar snap seeds there, and then all along the back, yeah. And then onions. Onions spread out all throughout this garden. I can see some random, like they're just good plants that doesn't take up that much space, and they grow like kind of like just tall. So it's nice to just as a filler.
As a, detracting thing.
Oh, okay.
Garlic
Yeah.
is going all the way around the
Garlic's doing good.
Yeah.
The border.
Hardneck variety. I want the scales.
Hardneck. Oh, yes. Wow. Oh, I was going to sit on here earlier, but I was afraid I was going to damage it.
It's a good sitting spot.
Actually, this is really sturdy.
It is.
Hey. Okay, it's not bad. Even at first, I thought the sub house was going to take up already like a third of this type of bed.
It is taking up a third of that.
But it's actually a very useful space. You can like use it as a little table or like a sitting spot.
I used it for Gorilla Pod, like standing on, and that way I can do.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I think someone promised me a couple of lettuce heads. Which one can I plug?
That one and that one.
Oh, really? When I have the beautiful big ones?
Yes.
Oh.
I want to give the space to the fava beans.
All right. Thank you. Okay, here we go.
If it grows back, great. If it doesn't, that's fine.
It's not gonna grow back like this, though, you know.
Probably not.
Okay, thank you. Ooh. Here we go. Beauty.
Another one in there.
Oh,
geez.
Yeah. And then
I didn't realize there was two in there.
So I got one head. Time to harvest the other one. Oh wait, you said I could harvest one of these, right?
Yeah, one of those. Just cut it above the soil.
Yeah. Woo! Gracias. Look at that. And then one more. Which one? This one?
That one.
Okay. Yes. This is almost like my garden. Move like this.
As far as the spacing. Yeah,
it's very familiar to me.
I didn't realize how uneven it was.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm thinking I might shrink that center section a little bit.
Yeah. One of the reasons why Luis has a community garden is while he actually has a little bit of a similar garden situation at home. Like me, I have a narrow garden with lots of shade, you know, because of the two solid walls. He has something like that, except his is like a couple feet wider than mine, which makes a bit of a difference when it's a space that small, right? But yeah, so getting out here, being able to grow things with more sun, you can really see a big difference in just plants in the winter, just from the lack of sun. They really don't grow much. So being out here, you can see that the plants are growing a lot faster, and also it's just a social aspect of it, being able to meet, you know, like-minded people, share and just exchange ideas, learn from others, and just kind of chit-chat around about the things you enjoy doing. And being able to share with even you know, the people that don't grow stuff over here like me. So that is about it, you guys. I am going to be taking these home and having a really nice salad that I really miss. So yeah, thank you, Louise, and thank you guys for watching. I will see you right back here in the next one. Bye.